welcome back to Chai with Hira. Today I'm actually having a chai. My husband made me one. Black tea with milk, cardamom, and a little bit of cinnamon. Delicious. Every time I drink chai, I really want to open up a place here in Germany, but to be honest, I don't think Germany is ready for this. They are not ready for this explosion of taste you have in your mouth when you're having a chai with like spices. So yeah, I think the culture is very different. We don't need another place where we're rushing, drinking our chai and move on. Our life is already super fast. Most of us have a super busy life. Sometimes we are so focused that we don't even realize that we are approaching the next season. And this is what it's about in this episode. It's about the season of womanhood. In order to dive deeper, I need to rewind and tell you a little bit about my childhood. As most of you guys know, I grew up in Germany and we often flew back to Pakistan every 2 years. So I grew up in between two cultures. Everyone who grew up between cultures knows this strange feeling of not belonging anywhere. So when you're in Germany, you kind of don't look German, and when you're in Pakistan, you kind of not Pakistani either. I mean, I remember having a little German accent when I used to go back. I mean, nobody said anything, but I felt it, I heard it. So yeah, and also you don't really share all the values, not the same values. You kind of pick and choose the values you represent and you feel comfortable with. So yeah, that's how I grew up. But there was one thing which was a little bit more difficult to pick and choose, besides food and music and I don't know, my values, was to see a woman which is representing a life I would imagine having. So there was no woman in my environment where I was thinking like, yeah, that's it. That's how I want to be like. So I couldn't really say like, oh yeah, that's the life I want. So my mother, she was a homemaker. I'm saying homemaker because she was not just a mother, she was not just a wife, she was also taking care of the whole household. She was taking care of the finances of my dad's business. So she was an incredible woman. Yeah, so she did everything in her power to create a nice, comfortable, safe home. And also my dad, he was an amazing businessman, and they did nothing wrong, just to make that clear. But I want to say that I didn't have the feeling like this is what is waiting for me and this is what I want to be and how I want to create my life. So I also had like a lot of family members, trust me, a lot of family members who were incredibly intelligent. They had like 2 master's degree. They were doctors. They were becoming lawyers. Growing up, I always had to listen to my parents like, look at your cousin. She has already her second master's degree in mathematics or in physics or in education. So I always felt like, oh my gosh, we have super smart women in our family. I need to keep up. And it was a motivation. It was not like, oh my gosh, the comparison again, like, so it was always a positive comparison. But I was keep on watching them very closely since they were in the beginning my role models. And since they were also older than me, they got married first, they had children first, and I watched one by one, not just my cousins and my aunts, also like the women in my environment here in Germany, one by one were getting married and had children, and their ambition slowly became invisible. And for some, maybe also for a lot of women, this is what they wanted. This is exactly how they planned their life, and that's what made them happy. And I really respect that. And I'm also talking about my environment. So it doesn't mean that every Pakistani family is doing it the same way. I'm just talking about my experience, my environment. And I didn't have the feeling that women who were so intelligent and who I was looking up to were really showing their ambition visibly. So yeah, I also believe that you don't have to prove to everyone how ambitious you are. You don't have to have this amazing career and climb the corporate ladder or create a business. I'm not talking about that. But I had difficulties finding the fire in them. Maybe it's what I wanted and I was trying to look for it and was hoping that somebody is doing it the way I would do. And to be honest, it's not like I knew from the beginning on how I wanted to create my life, but I knew that I wanted to do something on my own. And although my mom was a homemaker, a housewife, a mother, a wife, she gave me the strongest message growing up. She always told me not to depend on anybody. Not my parents, not my siblings, not my husband. I mean, family is there. She always made sure to say, hey, family will back you up, but you need to learn how to stand on your own feet. And only now I'm beginning to understand that how much this message shaped me. And now I realize how valuable this message was. She didn't live by it by example, so she didn't show me how to do it, but she helped me create this freedom I had growing up to create my own space, to have the freedom of marrying who I wanted to marry, to have the freedom to make mistakes, to have the freedom to take risk, to have the freedom for new beginnings, to have the freedom to earn my own money, to have ambition. And maybe I'm thinking now, this is even more powerful than giving your daughter a ready-made roadmap. She gave me permission, and I am so grateful for this. And then I got married. I had my 2 kids. That was during COVID, and for 4 years I stayed home. I mean, during COVID, life was anyway a little bit different, but it was beautiful. I had a wonderful time with my children, raising them the first couple of years. I mean, I think I wouldn't have the opportunity if I had to go right back to work, to my 9-to-5 job. So I was very privileged and lucky to spend so much time at home. But after a couple of years, I felt not fulfilled. And it's so uncomfortable to talk as a mother like this because it's not like my kids were not fulfilling me. They fulfilled a great part of my life. And as I said, I had a wonderful time. But I didn't expect them to fulfill my entire life. And to be honest, I don't wanted them to be responsible to fulfill that part of life which I was missing. Another part of me was searching for a space to create, to solve problems, to support, to just like be curious and follow another path. I talked about this in the first episode about the feeling, the energy which I get when I support ideas, when I see potential, when I start creating and helping and supporting and building systems. And eventually I could finally admit that I can love to be a mother, but I also can be ambitious and create a space which gives me more energy and I don't have to pour out energy constantly. So these two things are not contradictory. That's what I finally realized. So recently I've been researching about these transitions I had, and this was not the first transition. As I said, I had a couple of transitions in life, and I wanted to know more about it. And I started reading about the archetypes of Carl Jung. I want to be accurate here. I just picked 5 archetypes. If you are interested in the different archetypes of women, you can do your own research, but I'm gonna pick 5 which I experienced and where I can say like I applied in my life, during my life. So the 5 archetypes are the maiden, the lover, the mother, the wild woman, and the queen. So these archetypes slash seasons slash identities are not stages where you graduate from one season to another. There could be like several archetypes, identities living within you, or you are representing more than one or two. And I see it as a framework of womanhood, which helped me see like what season I'm living in and what are my priorities, and it helped me a lot. And yeah, these help me understand my priorities in different seasons and in different phases of my life. And when I apply this framework on my life, when I look back, I know exactly where I had been. So for example, I was in my maiden and lover season during my 20s. I was open for new beginnings. I was taking risks. I was curious. I was finding my identity. I was trying to figure out what I do want, what I don't like. And I was passionate about traveling. I was passionate about my studies. I wanted to build a career, and I was just enjoying life. So yeah, after my lover season, I tapped into my mother season when I had my children. And when I'm talking about mother season, doesn't mean that you just have to take care of children. It could be also creating an idea, creating a new beginning, creating businesses, nurturing a community, you know. So I was definitely in my mother season the last 4 or 5 years. I was raising my children, I was protecting them, I was making sure they're feeling safe. And on top of that, when I'm talking about mother season, I was also helping my husband, supporting his career, supporting my brother, his idea to build a business, exactly, and also be there for my parents. And during that season, I gave a lot of energy, and I just realized I was just giving and giving. I needed something to energize me. I needed something to give me energy, which fills me up. And I realized something shifted during that time. And if you ask me today what season I'm in, I would say I am between the wild woman and the queen. If you think about the wild woman, please don't think that I'm just being this crazy woman running or disappearing into the forest to look for, my roots. No, absolutely not. It's the wild woman is really, really interesting. It's the season of setting boundaries, going back to your culture, thinking about thinking clearer, thinking more clear, finding out what are your priorities and what are not. No, I think the wild woman phase actually creates space for creativity, if that makes sense. So yeah, I really experienced and explored what I want and how I want to create my future. For that, I had to do a lot of inner work, a lot of shadow work. I had to go back to my roots. I had to figure out why things are triggering me, why am I reacting this way, and how I can become a better person. So yeah, it was one of the most interesting seasons. And I'm not saying that I'm out of it. I told you, you can go back and forth. And I'm still there. Queen energy, though, is quite interesting as well. It doesn't mean you're superior to somebody or to anyone. It's more about ownership. It's about, okay, what is giving me energy and what is taking me energy. You know exactly what you want. You think very clear. You can protect your peace. You know exactly when your attention is going where. So I'm still working on that. Maybe some women are in their queen season already in their 20s. I don't know. I wasn't. So good for them. So as I said, everyone has their season in their own time, and that's totally okay. And what I love about this framework is that you get clearer in different part of your life. And being clear means being intentional, means that I'm still the mother who's nurturing, I'm still the wild woman who's setting boundaries, and I'm still the queen who is protecting her peace. That's like the balance I brought to my life in order to prioritize and have a clear structure of my roles, my different roles. I was talking about it also back in my first episode. And yeah, that's how I do it, how I structure it, and how I think about it. And there is another layer to this for me. I am the oldest daughter in the family, means I'm automatically the responsible one. I am naturally organized. I'm naturally there to help people. If somebody has a problem, my brain turns on and I'm trying to already fix the problem. I ask how we can solve the problem. Yeah, that's how I am. That's most of the older siblings are. But sometimes I question myself. Do I really love being productive, or did I learn that being useful makes me more valuable? Is that like my personality trait, or am I being conditioned here? Or is that ambition? I think it's a little bit of everything. I don't have the perfect answer to it yet, but all I know is creating and what I'm doing apart from my family is genuinely making me happy and is giving me energy while I'm being a mother, while I'm being a wife, while I'm a daughter, a sister, a friend. So the question now is, can women have it all? And my answer today is first, we need to define what means having it all. Because if having it all means being the perfect wife, being the perfect mother, having a beautiful home, having a perfect career, a successful career, having 8 hours of sleep, having the perfect body, being the best friend to a lot of amazing people, being never stressed, being always present, then I don't think I don't have it all. But if having it all means I can be ambitious and love my family deeply, yes. I can have a healthy marriage while have an identity outside the marriage, yes. I can take care of other people while I can take care of myself, yes. I can build something while I'm still a present mother, yes. And I think that's the part we don't talk enough about. I don't think balance means having the attention in every part of your life on the same day and at the same time. I think balance changes depending on the season you are in. Because when I had a newborn, my baby was my priority. Now, since my kids are a little older, my husband can take care of them and I can take care of what needs more attention at the moment. But it doesn't mean that my kids are not my priority. See what I learned? Different seasons have different priorities, and I switch and turn depending what part of my life need more attention. So when my priorities change, my tasks change, and my energy shifts, why should I be the woman in the same season? And this thought was quite freeing for me because it didn't put me in a cage. It let me shift and turn and move from one season to another, from one part of my life to another, from one role to another. And I want to see that especially from our South Asian community. We have amazing women who are founders, who are doctors, who are lawyers, who are engineers, who are teachers, who are mothers, who are creating incredible things. Women with migration backgrounds are navigating through cultures, who are building careers, who are being mothers. They're all here. And I'm really, really excited to bring some of them forward, have a talk with them here at my podcast studio. And I really want to invite some of these women not to ask the question, hey, how did you become so successful? I want to ask them, like, how did you do it? What did it actually take? How do you deal with cultural expectation? How do you manage all these roles? What are you struggling with, and how do you carry your marriage, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with your kids, and how do you manage your career? Because this is exactly what I want to hear, not the outcome. I want the life underneath it. And while we are approaching slowly to the end of this episode, I would, instead of giving you an advice or three quick tips, I would rather leave you with a question. What season are you in? Think about it. Maybe you're in your maiden season. You're still figuring out who you are. Maybe you are in your lover season. You're falling in love with somebody or with yourself. Maybe you are in your mother season, where you're nurturing a project, your children, your parents. Or maybe your wild woman in you is saying, hey, I can't do this anymore. I want to do it differently. Or maybe you're approaching the queen season, where life gets much clearer and you know exactly how you want to build your life, how you want to design your life. There is no correct answer, but it's worth thinking about it. It helped me to understand my roles, to organize my roles, and give me a clear picture of my life. And there's one big question I will keep exploring during all these episodes, also in the future. How do we create a life where our ambition, our family, and ourselves are not constantly competing with each other? I don't think I have the complete answer yet, even though I've been through a lot of seasons. But let's see what season will teach me in the future. And thank you for spending another cup of chai with me. I'll see you next time. Yours truly, Hira.